Hey guys, welcome back to the Alpha Strike. My name's Eric, and we have a great show for you today. Today, we're featuring Mikeneto's Brotherhood of Heroclix. And here you have him, Mikeneto.
Hi everyone. So today I will be discussing Heroclix builds, or meta builds, for tournament play, high level play. This is what you'll see in the ROC or the WizKids Open, which we just participated on just this last weekend. Professor Erks here took 6 in the top 8, so congratulations. I unfortunately bottomed out, mainly because I had to fight him in the first round, but those are the losses. So we're just going to go over, I'd like to lay out for you an idea of the way that I look at meta teams for these high-level competitions and kind of the classifications I put them into. Now, sometimes teams will fall into more than one classification, but typically speaking, this is kind of the strategy that I'm looking at my opponent has and what I would have to look at to try and beat him. So up first, really what this comes down to, when you build a team, you're got one goal in mind. Win unconditionally. That's it. It's meta, it's win. I want to win. I'm going to beat you hands down. No quarter, no loopholes, no, I might have won. You're looking to win and not really be challenged at any point. Right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So the first classification I have, and I call it the Alpha Strike. These are the teams where you've got a really good first hit, that you've got a long attack, most likely your opponent doesn't see it coming, and of course, as we say, you strike first and you strike hard. So you hit one figure and you knock it out of the water, and it just changes the whole wave of the game, where you start off both at full and they hit you really hard, so you go down and you try and strike back, and then they get you down some more, and it just really goes downhill from there. Some really good examples of these: the Coriander Orange Lantern Battery team. Just first one that comes to mind, that amazing yo-yo, almost full board. The Nick Fury, Balls of Fury, Nick.
ID card Colin, even, yeah.
But so really the whole purpose there is to just strike first, deal as much damage, and just cripple your opponent to where they just really don't ever get back up. Up next, I've got what I like to call the Iron Defense. This is one that I experienced at the WKO, as well as what I was playing. This is really where you can't hit me. You're looking at 21 defenses, good stealth teams that can't be stealth busted. You just can't hit me at all.
Like untargetable figures like Mystique?
Or Lex Luthor.
Yep.
And the next thing is, even if you deal me damage, I come back. You just can't kill me. And then really, when it comes down to it, a swing and a miss is worse than not swinging at me at all, because you've taken an action and you've really got nothing to show for it. So that's the whole theory behind what I would call the Iron Defense. You're not taking hits and you're dishing them out. So it's not like the Alpha Strike where you strike first. It's more, you just can't really hit me or damage me for any way that's going to matter, and you can't slow me down. So eventually I'm going to take you down. Up next, I like to call it Bigger, Better, Faster. So this is where you take the full advantage of Perplex, Enhancement, Empower, Support, Probability Control, Super Strength, anything that's going to make your tent pole or your overall team bigger and stronger and more intimidating. You're looking at bonuses in every category that you possibly can: combat reflexes, energy shield flexion, standing on hindering terrain, just really giving out powers, just whatever you can do to make an ordinary team better.
So like min-maxing, essentially. Taking a figure, finding what's they're missing and making them the ultimate piece, basically?
Something like that. I don't know if it's making them an ultimate piece, but just making them bigger and meaner. Some examples of that would be +3s to all your values on, Nick Fury, Balls of Fury. But, other characters that you get +2s, entities give +1s. Just overall, you're looking at, 3 enhancements, 3 perplexes. Just whatever you can do to make those values as big as unbelievably possible, to make it just absolutely daunting for your opponent to hit you, as well as makes it really easy for you to hit them.
So like taking a Phantom X, a bunch of Weasels, and some Perplexes and just going ham?
Yeah, that's another one of them. So
okay, I understand now.
Up next, I would call it free stuff, because everybody loves free stuff. This is free actions, sidestep. You got free pulse waves. You got free heals. You got free TK. You got free everything. I'll throw in the kitchen sink as well. If it's free, I want it. I'm going to use it. Free leadership. Well, leadership's free anyway. Extra leaderships. Free actions. Just more actions. Anything that I can do that you can't do, I can do better, I guess.
And do you feel that this would be a much better team now that Green Batteries and Lydium Allure are rotating out of Modern?
Running into Green Battery would definitely restrict a free stuff team, but, proper placement of your free stuff could still really make the game. So, just something to think about. Again, not really something you always see standalone. You usually see it paired together with another classification. But this is just kind of how I look at meta teams and how I would classify them in general categories to kind of figure out what my opponent's trying to do.
Makes sense.
Up next, the Swiss Army knife. We've seen this best in Engineer, Zombie Super Scroll, and the Lantern Batteries. You're just dishing out powers. You say, you're going to use this, this, and this. As well as the ID cards. It comes down to you have what you need when you need it. Your values may not be amazing, but I've got Pulse Wave when I need it. I've got Blade's Claws for my close combat. I've got Charge Flurry. I've got Super Strength when I've got that object that's just sitting right next to me. I just happen to have the right defensive power at the right time, and Precision Strike to take out your Super Senses. So really, it all just comes down to having what you need when you need it. And Swiss Army teams, we've seen this a lot. Those figures, usually when they hit the board, they're really quite meta. Trinity War Batman, for instance, I just get to pick a power that I want to use. It was just really versatile and comes in handy on a lot of different teams for all the various reasons. Up next, I like to call it, where does he get all those wonderful toys? Resources, really big in the meta. I don't think we saw a single team this last weekend that was not running a resource of some kind. A lot of them are rotating out now. The Phoenix, the Green Batteries, the Mandarin Rings. Already rotated out was the
Book of Skulls.
Book of Skulls, that's the one I was looking for.
And we also lost way back when the Bat Belt and the Infinity Gauntlet.
But really, just having extra things on the board, giving you more powers, giving you more options, giving you more boosters, it really comes down to meta play. And of course, now we have our objects, our Hulkbuster pieces, mutagen canisters, pin particles, weapon drop, helmet of fate, probably plenty more coming up in the future. It's just, wonderful toys to play with that you can augment your team and kind of bring it a little bit closer to the Swiss Army side, but still a little more targeted. So, just things that you need. Up next, one of my personal favorites, I like to call it Maximum Carnage. It's just damage, 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 damage. I can't say it enough. 455 times or whatever, just damage. Infinite sign here. My whole goal is to just wreck your team as much as possible. I've got Mystics bouncing you back. I've got Poison for standing next to you. I'm breaking through your defenses. I give you extra tokens so you take more damage. I'm hitting you everywhere I possibly can, because eventually your figures are just going to die.
Or have really low values that just don't matter anymore.
Again, setting that wave to where it tilts the game in my favor. Another one I like to use for classification is the Lockdown team. This is based around, I give you more tokens. You're looking at Incapacitate, Kitty Pryde from the new set, where I can run through, anybody in your team and give them a token. Professor X that makes it so you have to take double power actions. Just overall, Harpoon makes it so you can't move. Restrictions and Outwit, countering your powers. If you can't do it, then that's an obvious leg up for me. I'm locking you down. So the less you can do, the better I'm off.
So you're just making Incapacitate and Barrier and all these things just keep people from doing things, and damaging them over time.
Holding you in place, holding you in place with plasticity, or boxing you in, make it so you can't move. Just whatever I can do to lock you down, so you're just wasting your turn. There's really nothing you can do. And then the last classification I had would be who watches the watch list. This is where a lot of players go to for the exploits, the loopholes, the dirty tricks, whatever you want to call them, that usually end up on the watch list later because it's just, well, broken. It's not fair. We saw this with Faust, with probability control on his die. We saw this with...
Specifically Felix Faust.
Yeah, Felix Faust. Sorry, there's another Faust out.
There's
Felix
Faust out there.
But what else did we see? Proxima Midnight, she rolled through. There's a couple things that made it through the watch list, which surprised even myself. Brother Voodoo, I honestly think he mind-controlled those who were looking at the watch list as a free action so that they would not put him through the watch list. I don't know how it happened, but...
you got really lucky.
Really, when it comes down to it, they're just trying to make that balance in the game, but before they get to it, we get to it. And we exploit it, take it to our tournaments, and go for that unconditional W.
Winning is key on these kind of tournaments. Gotta take them the good prizes.
So that's my short and sweet version of how I classify meta teams. If I missed anything, left anything out that you guys use for classifications that wouldn't be split between two of my classifications, please comment, let me know. I'll definitely throw them in. I intend to use these classifications going forward as I review meta teams in this particular series of videos, as well as talk about meta level figures that would fit into those different team builds for obvious reasons. But when playing meta, let's talk serious for a moment here. There's a couple things you always got to remember when you're running one of these classification teams or multiple classifications, is that you always need to know your weaknesses. So there's no perfect team. It's impossible. There's something that is a linchpin to your team at all times. You need to know where it is so you can watch out for it and attack it and get it off the board as quickly as possible. And honestly hope that your opponent doesn't notice it either. So what you know about your weakness gives you the opportunity to protect it and make an allowance for it. It really helps that if I know where you're going to strike me, then I can kind of set you up where I need you to be. Keep up on your rulings and changes. Keep up on the WizKids Info Network. Watch for erratas. Watch for questions about some of your favorite figures or other figures that are being rolled around a lot. They come through and they say, oh, well, we actually meant this, or we left this word out, or a Force Blast actually targets the character even though it doesn't say it on the PAC. Just some things to really watch out for. I troll that forum regularly, and I ask that our local judges keep up on it as well so that it keeps those ruling arguments to a minimum, keep from interrupting the game. Know your enemy. Watch the circuits. Look at HC Realms. Watch what has been run in the last tournaments, who won, what won, and look at those figures and figure out why they won. Build their team. Play against it. Play it as if you were them. See what they're doing and learn from your opponents and figure out what it is to really build a meta level team and how it can really work for you. Keep practicing. Always practice. The best teams that I see win are the guys who know their teams upside down, inside out, and backwards. They know their dials. They know where they're going to be when they take damage. It's just they're practiced, and it's a really hard machine to go up against. And the last thing that I always recommend for meta level play is you may think you're unstoppable, but you may still lose. When it comes down to it, dice are still a factor.
You make mistakes. Things happen, right?
Crit misses happen.
You
roll that 3-2-1, or actually 4-3-2, and now you're taking damage, and now your entire strategy is just blown to pieces. And your opponent might just roll those 3 critical hits in a row, and every shape change, and every impervious, and you can't get to them. It's just working in their favor. So you may think you're unstoppable, but you may still lose. And to coin a phrase, never give up and never surrender. Really, there's a line to be drawn there with that, but if you're playing in a team and they take out your primary attacker and you still got 2 secondaries, don't give up. Don't become disheartened. The game could still go another way. But likewise, if you're running just Alloy with Justin Seifert and Doc Magnus and they kill your Alloy and everything he breaks into, and you've got 2 characters that both do 0 damage, then throw in the towel. Your opponent has you. Just
shake their hand.
Yep. Congratulate them on a job well done. Be a good sport about it. You lost. That's really, all they can really ask for. And when you're playing meta and you're rolling people over and over and over again, try and be a good sport. Compliment them on what they did well. Apologize that your team is just really meta level and, you came here to win. Just be real with them. That's all they can really ask for as far as that respect goes.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to add, Professor Erks, to my Brotherhood of Metaclicks?
Just a couple questions is all. So, with these classifications you've laid out for us, which was really nice to put together, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Whenever we go through teams, you're going to help us classify those again. So you'll kind of let us know which ones are which. Are we going to do team once in a while and kind of explain what they are if we do make that kind of team for when we play?
Yeah, absolutely. When we're doing our battle boxes and if we're practicing some meta teams, we'll discuss, when we discuss strategy, we'll label this team, okay, this is an alpha strike, bigger, better, faster team. So I'm working on making my team as big as possible and hitting you first as hard as I can. Or, I'm playing a resource iron defense team that this is just all about me using my resource and making it so you can't hit me. We'll put those in classifications so you can kind of see some examples. And then when I'm reviewing some of the teams that have been rolled through and, took first or top 8, kind of analyzing those teams, we can kind of see what we're looking at and why I classify them that way.
All right, and then just one last thing for the viewers. Since you are Mikeneto and the Heroclix Master, how long have you been playing the game?
I started playing Heroclix, Legacy, approximately.
Wow.
This is back when they still did the RAB, the red, blue, and yellow dials. Long before cards, long before resources, long before pink powers, long before white powers, long before the game retired and then came back. I special thanks to my friend Ryan Bloxman for that. He got me in the game. Real strong passion for comic books, and I really enjoyed playing the game from day one. So I'll never forget that you helped me start this little adventure, and I appreciate it.
All right, well, that's good to know. That means you have a lot of experience behind the game. It means everything you say will probably hold some value. That's really good. That's really awesome.
Except when I'm wrong, which happens a lot. So
this game is just so wonderful.
A lot of things in this game are entirely opinionated, especially when it comes to review of figures and thoughts on teams. And, just as an initial disclaimer, these are my opinions on meta. And, I'm not a meta winner, but, I think about the game a lot and I see a lot of things roll through. So hopefully my opinions are helpful to you, maybe help you build a meta team and make that top 8, maybe even take first place. And, if you remember your old buddy Mikeneto, send me a little, thank you card, a little comment, it's all good. But that's pretty much all I have. Did you have any more questions, Professor Erks?
Oh, no, that was all, Mikeneto.
All right. Well, until next time, remember, strike first.
And strike hard.